Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 81 of Halfway Through the Heat, the world's preeminent, most prominent, most prolific Trans-Pacific wrestling podcast, coming to you live from the Eastern Time Zone. I'm Tom. With me, as always, coming from greater metropolitan Tokyo, is Joe. Joe, how are you doing?
I am okay.
Okay. All right, we'll take that. We have a lot of news for you this week. We have a big show this week, although not about the big show, happily. There's a lot of TNA news. Or, I'm sorry, Impact Wrestling news. That's part of the news. Impact Wrestling. We've also got some Ring of Honor news. We've got some news about Flow Slam stuff happening this weekend. We got all kinds of independent wrestling news, but we also have some WWE news. Some news you might consider ravishing. We're going to talk about the fallout from the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. But before we do anything else, we're going to maintain our brand identity as smiling faces in a world of frowns, and we're going to say something positive about Raw. Joe, what was positive about Raw this week?
Undertaker and New Day ice cream.
Positive. We're
Oh,
looking for
fuck.
positive.
Um, um, still like Chris Jericho.
Yep. I'll say for me, the positive aspect of I liked the Rich Swann Neville match.
Oh yeah, that was a good match.
I actually liked it better than Neville's match with Jack Gallagher on Fastlane, and I liked that match. For whatever reason, I think the cruiserweight title matches on Raw are like more fast-paced and more exciting than the cruiserweight title matches on pay-per-views. I don't understand it. It's just something I've noticed.
Yeah. Like the first hour of the show was just like the Chris Jericho Kevin Owens show. Um, that was all right.
That was all right.
I didn't actually. I mean, no one's gonna turn down a Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match,
No, that was good too. That was good too.
and
Um,
Chris Jericho versus Samoa Joe was something that happened.
yeah, that did happen, didn't it? There felt like there was a lot of talking this time around.
Yeah, there was.
And I honestly, I fell asleep before the main event, like probably like 10:30 or something, and so I woke up to a text from Mark, friend of the show, Mark, who was like, "God, what are they doing with Roman? Do they just never want people to cheer for him?" And I was like, "What do they do?" But they brought back the Undertaker. That's what they did.
Yep.
So there's
Do,
that.
so it's gonna be Roman Reigns versus the Undertaker at WrestleMania. Um,
I
okay.
That's something.
Okay. Well, um, hopefully it'll be quick.
Hopefully it'll be quick. And I mean, is this a sign that they're finally acknowledging that uh, Roman is the heel? Because they're not going to get people to cheer for Roman Reigns against the Undertaker.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I doubt they're gonna do that because I think they're gonna like want to keep the inevitable ability for the Shield to come back.
Yeah,
They're gonna do trades after WrestleMania from between the two brands. So Dean Ambrose might be back to the
back on
old
Raw.
Raw.
You might be right. I don't know. I wasn't too thrilled to hear that Undertaker and Roman Reigns are going to be at WrestleMania. But you know what? Fine, whatever. We knew that the Undertaker was going to come back. My hope was that he'd be in a three-way match with Lesnar and Goldberg to just get the worst stuff out of the way in one match. But
Yeah, that would have been perfect. I mean, because that match is gonna be terrible anyway. You might as well keep all the terribleness together.
yeah,
Three.
exactly. That would be
Um,
my preference, but it's not to be.
and it
We-
it also cheats us out of a possibly good Roman Reigns match.
I know. Roman Reigns has had a lot of good wrestling matches. Roman Reigns had a good match against Big Show.
It's true. We always go back to that, but it's true.
I know we always go, but others. I'd be excited for if Roman Reigns and Rusev were like. I mean, I'd be excited for a lot of Roman Reigns matchups. I'm not excited for Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. I want to say I can't imagine being excited for anyone versus The Undertaker.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody.
Who's that little girl wrestler in that weird promotion in Japan? Chairman.
I don't remember.
Chairman Ramu or something. I'd be excited for that versus The Undertaker, because the gimmick is that it's the spirit of an Undertaker-like wrestler inhabiting the body of a little girl. I'd be excited for that.
That would be good.
But other than that,
only if she won, though.
Only if she won, like squashed him, just like came out and absolutely squashed him. Well, we should talk about the news, because there's a heck of a lot of news. And why don't we start with some WWE news? On Raw last night, it was revealed. Oh, I guess technically it was revealed on Bleacher Report that the latest inductee to the Hall of Fame is Rick Rude, ravishing Rick Rude. Long overdue, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Rick Rude was pretty great. I'm glad Vince has forgiven him finally.
Yeah, Rick Rude had a lot of great years in WWF. Of course, he was also in AWA. He's a Minnesota native. He had some time in WCW and even ECW. And he died at the age of 40, which is, he was 1 year older than I am now. That's horrifying.
Yeah, he died really early, but it was due to like complications to some kind of injury, right?
It was that was part of it, but the actual cause was heart failure due to a mixture of drugs.
Oh, well, okay.
Kind of a familiar story for wrestlers who were big in the 80s, but sad nonetheless. 40 years old. But anyway, Rick Rude I have a lot of fond memories as a kid of watching Rick Rude. He was like one of the only guys who could get good matches out of the Ultimate Warrior. He was a phenomenally talented wrestler who had a great gimmick, and it's kind of surprising he was never world champion in WWF.
Yeah, well, I mean, he got injured like partway through that. I think he probably could have been, but he was injured. Didn't he have like a neck injury or something?
Yeah, I think you're right. But he was only ever Intercontinental Champion. He sort of belongs on that Mount Rushmore of guys who were only Intercontinental Champions in WWF, like with Razor Ramon and Roddy Piper. But yeah, long overdue. And I want to point out that during Raw, Michael Cole said, "Big congratulations to Rick Rude, who has been dead since 1999." Tom Phillips got it right on SmackDown when he said, "Congratulations to Rick Rude's family," because Rick cannot receive your congratulations, Michael Cole. But kind of a non-controversial choice, and I think a lot of people were probably surprised to hear that Rick Rude was not already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, it seems he was in one of the, the Rick Rude versus Ultimate Warrior thing was a big angle.
It was.
I remember that clearly. It was the Ultimate Warrior stripped his tights off of him at one point.
Yes, that's right. And Rick Rude had a really good feud with Jake the Snake as well. Just a very memorable wrestler, and also the thing about him, like, he wasn't all gimmick. Like, he was actually a fantastic wrestler in the ring too. He had that like Minnesota Vern Gagne pedigree of person learning to wrestle before they could adopt a flamboyant gimmick. But the biggest news this week is not really WWE related. It's TNA related, or should I say Impact Wrestling related.
You should say Impact Wrestling related, because that's the new name. TNA is dead, Tom.
Yes,
TNA is dead.
As we've said, they've been thinking about it, and apparently on the TNA tape. Oh, by the way, I'm going to preface this by saying there are a lot of spoilers coming. So if you don't want TNA for the next several weeks spoiled, come back in 10 minutes, because we're gonna talk about some spoilers, because TNA is now taping all of their shows in these week-long sprints in Orlando, and so now we know a lot about what's happening in TNA, including this isn't really a spoiler, but Bruce Pritchard, who's back. That's Brother Love, if you remember from the 19. I love you. He's back on camera with TNA. I'm sorry, with Impact. And at one of these recent tapings in Orlando, he came out and told the crowd that TNA is dead. Long live Impact Wrestling.
Well, good old. Hey, wait. If he's back, I wonder if they're gonna bring back Jim Cornette.
Maybe. I mean, I guess it would depend on Jim Cornette's relationship with Jeff Jarrett, who seems to be calling all the shots.
It's always been good, I thought. Like, he's never said anything bad about Jeff Jarrett.
No, they have that Memphis background together. As we've talked about, there was a huge talent exodus from Impact Wrestling recently. The Hardys are gone. Drew Galloway is gone. As you broke on our show, we didn't break it, but it happened while we were doing the show. Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis, and then the day after our show, it emerged that Jade, aka Mia Yim, has also left Impact Wrestling. So it's a big exodus of talent. But we've learned over the course of the tapings of people who have come in to TNA. It's not clear if these are long-term contracts. I'm not entirely sure that anyone in TNA has a long-term contract, except maybe like James Storm and a couple other like old-timers. My guess is these people are not exactly exclusive TNA talent, but they are appearing in upcoming TNA episodes, some in a very prominent position. Some of the new and returning faces on the Impact Wrestling Impact Zone. Alberto Del Rio.
That one was actually a big surprise.
That was a big surprise to me.
Alberto Del Rio shows up in TNA. What is he going as? What is his name going to be? El Patron.
I think he's Alberto El Patron.
Okay. That's better. I always liked
Alberto
that.
Yeah, the other one he came up with there. Yeah, I forget.
El Presidente.
Albert of the River. But anyway, Alberto is back, and he's in TNA. And he's joined by some other luchadors from Mexico, Garza Jr. and Laredo Kid. Garza Jr. is pretty well known, Laredo Kid less so, but both are good wrestlers. Conan is back. Homicide is back, and they've brought EYFBO with them. EYFBO is a tag team from New York City. The Nasty Assassin, Mike Drastic, and the Funky Monkey, Angel Ortiz. I've seen them wrestle maybe 20 times, and they're really good. They're part of Team Pazuzu. They're fantastic wrestlers. I'm really excited that they're getting a shot, even if it's this weird Impact Wrestling, not exactly a huge platform, but it's a national platform. It's bigger than they've had. I think people are going to be really impressed by those guys. Matt Morgan. Huh? Are you excited? Matt Morgan.
Yeah, Matt Morgan. That's going to be a thing that happens.
It's going to be Morgan-tastic. Matt Morgan. Rachel Ellering. Santana Garrett, who used to be in TNA as Brittany, but now she's there as Santana Garrett. Karen Jarrett. Huh? The aforementioned ex-brother love, Bruce Pritchard. Suicide is back. This time, the man wearing the mask is Caleb Connolly. Leva Bates. ODB.
How is ODB wrestling in TNA?
ODB's back.
But how? Like, what? Like, her name doesn't even make sense if in TNA.
ODB, how do you mean?
Oh, Wait a second. TNA ODB is the same as Ring of Honor ODB, right?
Yes.
I mean, she's a Briscoe.
Oh yeah, I think the initials stand for something else in Impact.
Do they?
I think so.
What is it then? What is it in TNA?
I don't know. Probably.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Probably something about being a bitch.
Oh, that's probably true.
I mean, she's been in Impact before.
Yeah, well, she was.
I think she had a fake wedding. Man, I love fake wrestling weddings.
Yeah, wait. Now I'm wondering what's the the ODB stands for in TNA now. She was one Dirty Briscoe in Ring of Honor. It doesn't say. Anybody know? Put in the comments.
Yeah, if you know what ODB stands for, I'm guessing it's something. I think it's one dirty bitch.
It's probably true. It's probably that, but
we are talking about Vince Russo land here.
True, very true. So okay.
So anyway, those are all names that are back, and some of them are going to be winning belts in the next couple of weeks.
I assume Alberto Del Rio.
Yes, he becomes their world champion. EYFBO becomes their new tag champions.
I could see that too.
So kind of exciting. I mean, like they've been pretty good even after Billy Corgan's departure. Like they've been pretty good. So
well, like
also,
if Bruce Pritchard is there, like that, he's not a bad hand, I guess.
Yeah, they have some other new names too, like indie wrestlers from the Northeast whose names mean nothing to me. But I saw wrestling sites talking about them as being like really popular guys in the Northeast, and like I'm not Mr. Northeast indie wrestling, but if I have even heard of you, I'm not sure you're really popular in the Northeast. But anyway, those are the big names that are coming to TNA in the next several weeks. I mean, they're already there, but you'll be seeing them on Pop. They're still on Pop, right?
Yes, they are.
That's some other TNA news. Another bit of TNA news, as reported in many places, they have signed a deal with Spike UK. They're going to be back on British television. Remember, they got kicked off a few months ago, as we talked about here. But now they're going to be back. They're going to be back on Spike UK. That's good because Britain is a hotbed for wrestling. And there was a lot of rumor stoked by Ryan Satin at Pro Wrestling Sheet that they might be coming back to Spike in the U.S., which is rebranding itself as the Paramount Network. However, that was batted down in the sporting news in a statement from Spike, which says that an executive was backstage at Impact Wrestling recently, but was not there to talk any deals. He was just there to hang out with some of his friends. I mean, they were on Spike for many years, 9 years. This executive, I guess, knows Jeff Jarrett, so he was just backstage saying hi to Jeff Jarrett. So the Pop TV deal expires late this year, and Spike has batted down the rumor that they're looking to bring TNA to the U.S. Paramount Network. So sorry, Impact Wrestling. But that's good news for them. They're going to be on TV in the UK, certainly. Not as good news. Some of these new and returning faces, one of them's already causing some problems. Of those names I had read earlier, if you had to guess which one was already causing problems backstage, who would you guess?
I would guess Conan.
You know what? That's 100% correct. 100% correct. Wrestling Inc. reports that at this past Friday's Impact Wrestling taping, Conan was late to the show and had an unspecified altercation with a fan, and then later on, quote unquote, went off on some Impact Wrestling officials.
Though it would be easy to say, if you just listed all those people, the new people that were there, it would be hard to pick between Alberto Del Rio and Conan, though.
No, that's true. That's true. Conan was a good guess. Alberto Del Rio also would have been a good guess.
But Alberto Del Rio, you'd expect there to be something crazier than that.
Yes.
Like a stabbing or like a
reported
Ninja Turtle
stabbing.
punching or something.
Yeah, Ninja Turtle punching. Or yeah, exactly. Or like beating up a backstage official.
I wonder if Paige is going to show up in TNA.
Still under contract with WWE.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, who knows? In the wild world of Impact Wrestling. Yeah, so Conan already causing some trouble. Not a big surprise there. So all in all, I'd say things are it's an interesting time in Impact Wrestling right now. A lot of new faces, a lot of old faces leaving. Where are some of those old faces going? Well, they're going to Ring of Honor. The Hardys showed up in Ring of Honor, and they won the tag titles off the Young Bucks. This is something we had talked about last week when people were speculating where the Hardys going to go. We said the best place for them to go in the short term, Ring of Honor. Build that buzz. Because the match that people wanted to see was Hardys versus Young Bucks. I'm not sure they should have had that match right away. Seems like maybe some build-up would have been smarter.
I would have liked to. I'd like to see the Briscoes versus the Hardys.
I would too. But having defeated the Young Bucks for the tag team titles, the Hardys are now going to be appearing on the Ring of Honor 15th anniversary pay-per-view this week from Las Vegas. It's not clear what they're going to be doing, but the current card right now is Adam Cole versus Christopher Daniels for the championship, Marty Scurll versus Leo Rush for the TV championship. That should be a lot of fun. Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice, Jay Lethal versus Bobby Fish, and then the Kingdom versus Dalton Castle and the Boys. Now, there's another former TNA name who you may recognize in Ring of Honor, and that's Bully Ray Dudley, who showed up the same show that the Hardys did, and apparently is going to be doing some more stuff in Ring of Honor. The Hardys, to me, make a lot of sense. Again, I think it was weird how soon they had the match with the Young Bucks, but I think it makes a lot of sense for them to be there. But what on earth is Bully Ray doing in Ring of Honor?
I don't know. It's strange.
That feels like something that would have happened in like Ring of Honor circa 2002 when like Chris Hamrick was a regular there. And like every once in a while an ECW guy would pop up when he wasn't working for WWF.
It does feel like that. That one was kind of baffling to me. Like, what is he going to do? I guess he's a well-known name, at least. That's something.
I'm sure he'll sell tickets, but like, you know, we've talked at length about the problems that Ring of Honor's been having in terms of creativity, and gosh, I do not know that Bully Ray is the solution to those problems.
Probably not much of a solution, but you know, maybe you know, having a little. I mean, any change is probably good at Ring of Honor at this point. So like, even if it's Bully Ray, it's probably okay.
I feel like a promotion though that's been wrapped recently for losing young talent. Like the response to that is bringing in the Hardys and Bully Ray is maybe not the best in terms of optics. Like,
yeah, okay.
It's good that they're having a match between Marty Scurll and Leo Rush for a title. That's really good. But you know, it's like, man, we've lost Donovan Dijak, we lost Keith Lee, we lost Kyle O'Reilly. I know what we're gonna do. Bring in one of the Dudley Boys. But you know. At least it wasn't Devon. That's all I'm gonna say. At least it wasn't Devon.
Did they ever say what a Dijak is doing?
Dijak is currently in the Indies, making a lap in the Indies, and apparently has a lot of interest from WWE. He's going to be doing some stuff for Evolve. He's going to be doing some stuff for WrestleMania weekend. So sooner or later, I'm guessing we'll see Dijak showing up in NXT. That's my guess. But before that, the end of this month, he's going to be wrestling at Enrico Fermi High School in Enfield, Connecticut. He's going to be wrestling Cody Rhodes, and I'm going to see that.
All right.
You know who else is booked on that show? Shannon Moore.
Really?
Yeah.
He's still wrestling?
He's still wrestling. He has like a punk rock gimmick now. It's like a huge mohawk.
Weird.
Really weird. I'm pretty excited. But anyway,
how old is he now, I wonder?
Well, we can find out.
40s?
Oh yeah, he's actually he's younger than I am.
Is he?
He was born July 27th, 1979.
Wow, he's younger than I am.
Wow.
He's still like almost 40 though. I mean,
He's 30.
37.
Yeah, he must have made his debut when he was like 20 or something. Anyway, so Shannon Moore coming in Enrico Fermi. So is Donovan Dijak, Cody Rhodes. It's gonna be a fun show. That's Blitzkrieg Pro Wrestling. Ask for it by name. So anyway, yeah, big news. The Hardys. The other Hardy news. The Hardys still have the Impact Tag Title belts, and Matt Hardy has been teasing on Twitter that they're going to do something with them, perhaps at an upcoming show, perhaps at the Hardys tailgate party on April 2nd before WrestleMania. Whatever they do is going to be delightful. I love when people have a company's title belt after they've left the company. You remember when Medusa came on WCW with the WWF Women's title and threw it in a trash can? Or when Stan Hansen had the AWA World Championship after he left, and he he ran it over with a tractor and then mailed the pieces back to Vern Gagne.
Awesome.
So there's the Hardys have a lot to live up to, but I'm sure they can come up with something weird for it.
I'm sure they'll come up with something weird.
Because there's certainly bad blood there, and it's going to head to the courts, not over the tag titles, but over all the final deletion broken universe stuff. Matt Hardy recently filed, according to Pro Wrestling Sheet, Matt Hardy recently filed an application to trademark the name Broken Matt Hardy. Anthem, the company that owns Impact Wrestling, claims that it owns all of that intellectual property. Matt Hardy disagrees. This is going to be resolved, and the only way it can be resolved inside the squared circle. No, inside a court, or probably inside between the communications between lawyers. But
I can see that.
The Hardys apparently are also in contact with WWE about negotiating a return. That is not a surprise to anyone.
That would be great if they came back. And I wouldn't have said that before.
No, me neither.
But
if you had brought
I'd
this
like
up
to see
before
them.
the broken stuff, I would have been like, God, who cares? But I'm excited to see like the weirdo Hardys interact with like the Wyatt family or something, to the extent that there is a Wyatt family at this point.
Yeah, it'll be good. They'll show up and fight the New Day, I guess, over ice cream.
I'd be fine with that. I would definitely be fine with that. They've already, deleted the titles of the Bucks of Youth, so what else do they have to do? Fight with the New Day over ice cream. Prepare a battlefield for massacre.
I'm sad that there's not more of that.
Me too. Yeah, I'm sad that we've seen the end of that, but maybe they'll bring something to the WWE. WWE is a little bit less wacky, so it's hard to say how much they'll be willing to let those kooks get away with. But if they can make money.
Yeah, but man, that's just the original like delete thing was the final deletion. So awesome, legendary.
It was so great, and I feel like they kind of have played out the string a little bit on it, but I still remember how much fun and how fresh and exciting that first final deletion thing was.
I still love that animated GIF of Matt Hardy on the riding lawnmower.
Yes, and the thing about the xylophone. I mean, just the whole thing, like it
destroying his brother's finely manicured lawn.
That's right. And running from the fireworks. It's a dilapidated boat. It wasn't even that dilapidated, honestly. All right, well, that's the news we have this week. There's a lot of TNA news. I'm sorry, it's gonna take forever.
There's another news we had recently. Dalton Castle had some new boys.
Oh, did he? I didn't see this. What happened?
He had this is in the New Japan crossover show. His two new boys were Taguchi and Tanahashi.
That's awesome.
They came out as the boys.
That's awesome. That would be a formidable six-man tag team, but I don't think that's what's going to be happening in Vegas this week.
Probably not, but that would be pretty awesome.
Oh, and Honma got hurt really bad. Speaking of Japan.
Yeah, Honma did get hurt pretty bad. He damaged his spine, and he was like paralyzed for a day or something. But apparently he's all right now. But he's still not like the part where he's damaged is like a part where like he could like it could affect like his ability to breathe. Like
That's terrifying.
it's the kind of thing where like they're worried that like it's possible that like because of where the damage was done, like he could stop breathing. So, but apparently he's okay. It's okay. I mean, better than the initial thought about it because like when the initial injury happened, the response was very sparse, which gives you the impression that there something horrifying happened. But they did release more later, saying that like he has full movement in his arms and legs and stuff. So he's out with an injury at least.
Yeah, that's good. It could have been even worse. Apparently, what happened? This was a house show, New Japan house show. Apparently, what happened was a 6-man tag. I mean, of course. Apparently, what happened is Jado hit Hanma with a guillotine DDT in the ropes, and Hanma's his feet were trapped in the rope, so he took the fall wrong, and that's what happened. It's weird, because that's a move that like the guillotine DDT through the ropes. Like you see, like Randy Orton does it. Like, I mean, you see people do it all the time. I went to this Women's Wrestling Revolution show and I saw Su Yung do it to Rachel Ellering. It's one of those like commonplace moves, but like it makes you realize like how dangerous a lot of that stuff is because you don't think of that as being a particularly spectacularly dangerous move. It's not like off the top rope or something, but if you just land wrong on a lot of those things, like you could really, really do serious damage to yourself.
It's true. So, hopefully Hanma will be okay.
Hopefully.
Hopefully this is not a career-ending injury.
Yeah, let's hope so, and certainly not as bad as it may be. Let's hope. Okay, all right, that's the news. We ended on kind of a somber note.
We did. So we'll get off of that somber note and we'll head to Fastlane. Maybe that's not so sad.
Woo! We'll shift it into higher gear and get into the fast lane and talk about fast lane.
Don't do that anymore.
So fast lane, overall, I thought it was kind of meh.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was. It wasn't very exciting.
But honestly, like I thought it was rolling pretty well. The cruiserweight tag match, Rich Swann and Tozawa against Brian Kendrick and Noam Dar. Like I loved that. That was a lot of fun. And then Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn, I like that match. And then Gallows and Anderson and Enzo and Big Cass. Even though I'm tired of Enzo, I thought that the first 3 matches I was like, this show is pretty good. And then things started to slow down with Sasha Banks and Nia Jax. And then that stretch where Cesaro wrestled Jinder Mahal and Big Show wrestled Rusev to set up a WrestleMania match, like, it just died.
Oh, yeah, that was... Yeah, I mean, that's really true. I was surprised that they started off with Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn. Like,
me too.
That's like more... That's like the kind of match that you expect to be the match of the night.
Yeah, I would have put that later in the card, and like I don't know, I wouldn't have had Cesaro and Jinder Mahal or Rusev and Big Show. Like I don't know, those were sort of late ads, and
I mean, if you had Cesaro and Jinder Mahal, like you'd think that would be on the pre-show.
Yes, right, and then have the cruiserweight tag match be the first match of the show proper to get people fired up in the mood.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I mean, is there anybody who's excited for Cesaro and Jinder Mahal?
Oh, no. Yeah, and so the Shaquille O'Neal thing is not happening, as we have said from the beginning. It's not going to happen. It's definitely not happening, and so they're calling an audible. And Big Show.
Is it definitely not happening? Because they were rumored that they're back in talks.
Oh my God! But then how are we going to get a resolution to this great Big Show Rusev feud that came out of nowhere and is meaningless?
Well, it's meaningless. Who cares?
Oh.
They'll just finish it on Raw.
I badly want to see a Rusev Big Show match. I don't. Cruiserweight title match I liked, but the crowd was into it. The crowd was into it until the that stretch in the middle, starting with Sasha Banks and Nia Jax, and then they just never got back into it. And I have to say, the last three matches, I really don't know what they were thinking. Like Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman, the match was fine, but it just felt like it was meaningless. And why, like Braun Strowman hadn't been pinned or submitted to that point, and why have that streak end like in a Fastlane match, third from the main event?
Yeah, that was baffling to me. I didn't understand. Like this is why. I mean, we didn't get this prediction right, but that's why I predicted that it would end in some kind of like shady double countout or something. You know what I mean? Like something that wouldn't really damage either of them, and still keep the no pins for Braun Strowman.
Yeah,
but apparently they're just going to throw that away.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily kills Braun Strowman's momentum or anything, but it just like takes away a really powerful storytelling tool that could have been used for a bigger match. Like they could have really built that up. Like this is the guy who no one has beaten yet, and then have that paid off at a pay-per-view. Instead, they kind of just like this. It felt like a Raw main event, honestly.
Yeah, like there's no there. It's not like they had this storied history of fighting or anything. You know what I mean? Like it's not like there was no like nobody is invested in this angle that started like less than a month ago.
Yeah, really surprised. I mean, the match itself was fine in isolation, but in terms of like lost opportunities, it was a little frustrating.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a bad match. Actually, I thought like it was relatively entertaining, but like. The ending, the like why do that to yourself? Like why throw away the point of that? It would it would be like when Goldberg was like starting to build up his streak or whatever, they just like, oh yeah, and then he lost.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like for no reason either, like with no fanfare to it.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking of. And then to carry that over to the next match, this was the real surprise of the night. Even though we got Reigns Strowman wrong, this was the real surprise of the night, where Bayley retained her championship, beating Charlotte Flair. So, and I thought they did this. They went about this in the worst way possible. Like unlike Braun Strowman, they hadn't really hyped the whole "he's never been pinned or submitted" thing. They have been hyping Charlotte as the queen of pay-per-view for months now, and everyone was expecting. All right, then it's going to end at WrestleMania, which would be sort of a meaningful way for it to end. So not only did they have her lose at Fastlane, but they had her lose in a way where she was the victim of like blatant interference by the good guys.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me. Like, it's the kind of thing where, okay, obviously they're going to make Sasha Banks a heel.
Right.
But like, it's the kind of thing where like, why, like, is the plan really to make this match at WrestleMania a three-way dance?
Yes.
I mean, that's the match, but like, was that a good plan? I mean, it's not exactly the end of this month-long thing you've been doing with Charlotte that anybody would. I mean, you just threw that away, basically. You've just been like building this thing up for months just to throw it away.
And in the like, not even a clean win for Bayley, like the worst way possible. When I saw Sasha Banks running down, I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna have the ref DQ this, so Charlotte's streak continues, but Bayley's the champ, so maybe Bayley can retain at WrestleMania, which I thought was like an interesting twist. But no, they just had Charlotte lose, like ending this storyline they had built up for no good reason and in the worst way possible, where like the good guys are cheating to win to beat the bad guy. When Charlotte came out on Raw and was talking about how she was a victim and they cheated, I was like, she's right. She's right. Like the bad guy is right here. The bad guy is getting screwed over, and like no one is doing anything about it. That's not the situation you want to have. Like you want the good guy to be the one who's getting screwed over.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing where like, what do you do there? I mean, if you're the good guy, you're Bayley. Like, if you're in that situation, what do you do? Like I mean, you'd just be like, what happened? Like, oh well, I feel bad about this. But like, if you're really the good guy, what you do is you just be like, well, okay, I guess maybe what we'll do is I'll just vacate the title and we'll have this match at WrestleMania decide who's the real champion.
Right. Yeah, and that would have been a great way to develop Bayley's character more as like the ultimate, babyface. But they didn't do that, and so they had this stupid match between her and Sasha Banks to set up a triple threat.
Which she lost. Like, not even like interference lost. There was no cheating. She lost clean to submission.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just the
like, what are you doing? What is it? What I don't understand the what they're going for here. Maybe there's an end game that I don't see yet, but it seems like they just kind of screwed up like months of storytelling.
Yeah, and like going into Fastlane, it seemed like they had at least a logical story if it was maybe a little bit predictable, but it made sense. You're like, okay, Charlotte's gonna win, and so when she loses in a pay-per-view, it's gonna be meaningful because it's gonna be the biggest pay-per-view, and it's gonna be so Bayley can be the champ. And then when it looked like briefly, I thought like, okay, well, she's gonna lose the pay-per-view, but Bayley's gonna retain because it's gonna be a DQ. I was like, okay, that's a nice twist. No, they just they like threw away all this work they had done on a Fastlane match. Fastlane is like the joke pay-per-view.
Yeah, maybe that was the theme of Fastlane this time. Throw away all the work we've done on all these people.
Yeah, seriously, because it's like they did the same thing with Braun Strowman. It's like, all right, screw it. I mean, anyway, the most predictable outcome that everybody was correct, of course, was Goldberg defeating Kevin Owens. And this, I also was not happy with the way this happened. When they were showing like Goldberg's entrance, I was like, oh my god, Owens is gonna lose in 30 seconds. Like that's how they're gonna do this. Like it just hit me. Of course that's what they're gonna do, and of course that's what they did. They threw in the Chris Jericho thing, but God, they really really want to protect Bill Goldberg from having to wrestle, don't they?
Absolutely, they do. Because I mean, it's actually really smart booking because like. If you don't book him that way, it's going to be obvious that he can't wrestle.
Right.
So I mean, it just kills the the image of him as this monster if he has to actually wrestle. So
yeah. What do they do? What do they do for WrestleMania? Because it's Lesnar at Goldberg for the championship. 50-year-old Bill Goldberg is the WWE Universal Champion. And he's gonna wrestle Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania for the championship. So what do they do? Do they have a wrestling match, or do they have Lesnar just come out and kill him? Or oh my God, do they have Goldberg come out and kill Lesnar again?
I honestly don't know, but I think like I'm sure that Brock Lesnar is happy to do these matches where he has to only come in and take like one move and like collect a paycheck, but like this is something that apparently Paul Heyman is like booking himself. So I assume this is something like Paul Heyman has like his hands deep in, I guess. That's the backstage news. So it's the kind of thing where you assume that Brock Lesnar is not going to lose, but I'm guessing that some kind of, something happens where like, there's cheating because like they've showed that, I think that was the point of Brock Lesnar showing up recently was to show that he was going to cheat. He was going to do dirty shit. Right.
Yep.
So like, when that happens, like it shows like, oh, previously Brock Lesnar was just coming out and giving John Cena 25 suplexes and winning, but now he's cheating to win. He didn't have to do that before,
right?
So now he is, and then you'll have, so I assume that like he's gonna come out and he's gonna do something cheap. He's we were talking about this before we started recording, but I would assume that it's gonna be something like Paul Heyman uses stun gun on Goldberg or something like that.
Oh man. Well, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Like having the title on the line in this match, I think is dumb because neither one of these guys is going to be a champion. Right? It makes the belt irrelevant.
The belt is kind of irrelevant anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but there's no top prize in Raw really with these guys.
Yeah, but it hasn't really felt like there has been at all. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even treat it like it's the top prize. Like, when is the last time on the pay-per-view that the championship match was the main match? Like, it only was this time because they want to get Goldberg over for WrestleMania.
Right.
But like, in the previous couple of pay-per-views, it hasn't even been the main event.
Yeah, it's true. Raw's in a weird position. Raw's in a very weird position right now. SmackDown is like the show that makes a lot of sense and is more like a traditional wrestling show. Raw is just this bizarre kind of all over the place show. Yeah,
SmackDown is like overall a much better show.
It really is a much better show.
It's the kind of thing where like I wonder how the ratings are comparatively for SmackDown versus Raw, because like there was a point where like SmackDown was beating Raw in ratings when it was a split before. I could see that happening again.
Oh, it has. There've been a couple weeks where SmackDown's beaten Raw since they did the new brand split. It's definitely happened. Part of that is just because ratings for Raw are down overall, but I don't know. SmackDown has a lot more going for it. Like it's got John Cena and AJ Styles and Randy Orton and Dean Ambrose, and it has like storylines that make sense, and it doesn't have like the horrors of Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley. The Daniel Bryan Shane McMahon duo works much better, I think, as the backstage string pullers. Going way back to the old days of like Jack Tunney, of like where the authority figure was a good guy, and honestly that's sort of refreshing after all the everything we've had since the Attitude Era, where the authority figure is always this evil villain.
Yeah, it is a little refreshing to have the good guy boss.
Yeah,
or at least fair. Like
exactly. Somebody who just is sort of fair and is not like always trying to like screw over the top babyface.
Yeah, that's the thing with Jack Tunney. He was never like, he's not like a babyface so much. Like, he doesn't help the good guys so much as he's just fair. So like he would come out and do things like overturn wins and stuff for cheating and whatever. He would just do things that were fair. So like it didn't it wasn't something that always helped the babyface, but it was usually something that was like, at least you could see like, okay, it's doing this because of fairness, not because of some agenda.
Right. Overall, I'd say that Fastlane C-, D+, somewhere in that neighborhood. There were good matches. I enjoyed the first 3 matches. I thought were really good, and I in total isolation, apart from any storyline, I thought Roman Reigns Braun Strowman was a good match. I just thought it was dumb how they kind of wasted this end of Braun Strowman's invincibility streak on a nothing pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was really strange. There were a lot of strange choices on Fastlane.
Yeah, that middle section though, those 3 matches in the middle just killed it. They just like sucked the life out of the whole show, honestly. And that's nothing against those wrestlers except for Big Show. But Cesaro is great, Rusev is great, Jinder Mahal is serviceable, but like there was no reason for those matches to exist. Sasha Banks is a really good wrestler, but Nia Jax is super limited. There's only so much you can do with Nia Jax, and that match felt like it was like twice as long as it really was. I was shocked to see it was only 9 minutes. I felt like it was 15. I mean, it just kept going. But yeah, not exactly a high energy launching pad for the excitement of WrestleMania. But it is high energy and exciting, and is happening this week. There's some Flow Slam events. There's some independent wrestling, huh?
Yeah, independent wrestling on Flow Slam.
Folks like that independent wrestling. Friday, March 10th. I'm not sure. I'm going to hesitate to give out. I'm looking at Flow Slam's website now, and I'm going to hesitate to give out the start time because they're always wrong.
It's probably, what, 8 o'clock?
8 or 9. They're saying 7. I'm guessing it's not 7 o'clock Eastern time. Let me see.
It's usually not 7, but it could be.
It could be. I'm gonna look at the old. WWN live page. I gotta cross check. That's what you gotta do with FloSlam. No, it's 9 p.m.
Yeah, see?
I will never understand why FloSlam can't get it right. Anyway, the card looks pretty good. Lufisto versus Ivelisse for the Shine Championship. That should be a really good match. Santana Garrett and God, wait a minute. Santana Garrett and Chelsea Green versus Kennedy Brink and Vanessa Craven. Allison Kay versus Mercedes Martinez. Tessa Blanchard versus Thea Trinidad. Su Yung versus Candy Cartwright. Malia Hosaka versus Angel Rose. Ariel Monroe versus Priscilla Kelly. And a 4-way match. Leva Bates, Amanda Carolina Rodriguez, Jamie Jameson, and Dynamite Didi. So, definitely worth watching. And that's, in fact, a show you and I can watch together if you have the time and the desire.
Sure I do.
I
have the desire. Do I have the time? Probably I do.
Well, it's no need to decide now. It's coming up. Then on Saturday, March 11th, also on FloSlam, ACW Wrestling presents Luck of the Irish from Ybor City, Florida. It's live from
Oh, okay. I was like, what? This is not an Irish promotion?
No, it's almost St. Patrick's Day. That's why.
Yeah, I know. I just thought of that. I was like, what? When you said from Florida, I was like, what? Why? Oh, St. Patrick's Day. But yeah.
And it is.
Are there Irish wrestlers at least?
Sadly, that this is not coming to us from the food court where ACW shows normally take place, but from that most Irish of buildings, the Jewish Community Center in West Port Richey, Florida.
A very Irish setting.
Very Irish setting. Looks to be Perro versus Jason Cade for the ACW Championship. Johan Ramses versus Troy Hollywood. Martin Stone versus Chance Champion. Romeo Quevedo versus Omar Amir. These are all championship matches. There's like ACW has like 10 championship belts. The Lazy Twins versus the Dirty Blondes for the tag team championships. David Mercury, Eddie Torres, and Damian Angel versus Chip Day, Murder One, and Adrian Armour, and Mitch Mitchell versus CJ O'Doyle.
Is that Mercury named wrestler a Freddie Mercury guy?
Oh, I don't know. I hope so. And that's 6 p.m. Eastern time. I have no idea what FloSlam says it's going to be. They say 8 p.m. They're never right.
All right.
It's the weirdest. And then finally, on Sunday, also from beautiful Ybor City, Florida, in the United States of America, Style Battle 3, the third Style Battle. This is like the most boring wrestling in the world, and I watch every one. Style Battle is like the distilled essence of Evolve. There's no storylines. It's every episode is a tournament, and that's it.
Oh. Oh man.
And this episode features Anthony Henry, who's very good, James Drake, Jason Cade, John Cruz, John Davis, Kyle Matthews, Martin Stone, and Parrows. It's like a bunch of ACW guys. I might not even watch that. I mean, like, I hate to be a jerk, and I'm paying for Flow Pro, but I don't know. It's so boring. Anyway, that's Sunday, March 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on FloSlam. Style Battle, Season 1, Episode 3. They keep saying Season 1, Episode 3. That's how they distinguish it, as if there's like a plot or characters or storyline. No, there's not. It's every episode is a tournament with different guys. It's so boring.
All right. So, Style Battle if you want to be bored.
If you want to be bored on Sunday night, Style Battle. But if you want to have fun Friday night, Shine is going to be good. Shine's always it's consistently good. We have a consistently good time.
It's never been bad.
Yeah, I mean some of the matches are not great, but it's never boring. Like Style Battle, the matches are usually good, but it's boring. Shine's never boring. Even matches that are bad can be sometimes funny
That's true.
or quirky if they have the characteristic like clown car pile up Shine finish with like 3 ref bumps.
That always happens.
Speaking of clown car ref pile ups, I went to see Women's Wrestling Revolution, as I think I mentioned earlier, and I was in Providence, Rhode Island last Saturday, and I had a blast. It's available on Beyond Demand, and I finally got to see Su Yung in person.
There is a picture of that.
There is a picture of that, of me with Su Yung. She was great. Match of the night, her versus Rachel Ellering. It was a fun match. It was a very Su Yung match. They went to the bar. Of course, they went to the bar. There were some bar spots. Su Yung took a nasty suplex on the floor outside the ring, which is also very Su Yung. There was the red mist. There were 2 red mist sprays, including one where she sprayed the crowd. I'm happy to say I got misted.
You were all misted.
The highlight.
You got all misty-eyed.
Highlight of my wrestling fan career. That whatever she uses for that red mist, buddy, that lasts. I still had traces of red mist on my hands and face on like Monday. It's all gone now though. But it was a really good match. Took a picture with her afterwards. Talked about Fest Wrestling. She gave me a button. I had a lot of fun. And the other matches were good too. I wrote a review of it on closetofanxiety.tumblr.com. But I don't know. I had a lot of fun. Maybe women's wrestling is going to be like my thing now. I enjoy it more.
That's your thing. It's always been your thing.
I'm going to be one of those people who only watches women's basketball. Probably not.
Well,
I probably won't be one of those people. But
don't be one of those people.
Also, I want to say that one thing I liked about it was only 3 hours long with the intermission. So like.
It's like a New Japan show.
Yeah, I didn't feel like exhausted and bored by the end of it. Like and the crowd was still really into it for the last match. Like a lot of times, I love Beyond Wrestling, but a lot of times by the time it's the main event, the crowd is so tired and the crowd just wants to go home. Everybody was really like hyped for the main event and kind of freaked out. Su Young's pretty freaky in person. We worried about Rachel Ellering, who looked great. Rachel Ellering, maybe that was the best match I've seen her in. She's really coming along as a wrestler. She looked fantastic. Anyway, that's what I did. I also saw a Chikara show on Sunday. So from no wrestling, I went to see 2 wrestling shows in 2 days. And the Chikara show was fun. I went with friends who don't like wrestling, but they like Chikara, and they had a blast. There's a lot of goofiness. There was an audience dance contest. It was that kind of show. But man, it took they had some matches that just went too long. Like it was spot after spot after spot, and after a while, you're just like kind of tune it out. But big crowd and super into it, which always helps any wrestling show.
Well, that's good stuff. I think your picture with Su Yung was quite good.
Yeah, I went over. I'm screaming in the picture because I went over to her and I'm like, "Can we take a picture?" And she said, "Of course." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to look terrified." And she said, "Great, I'm going to look scary."
Perfect.
And it worked out really well. She seemed very nice, although in that context, like, I mean, it's not like someone's going to be a dick to you, So
you're paying them money,
right? You're paying them money. Although no, the picture was free. The Mark picture was free.
Oh. Free?
Yeah, she was just taking pictures of people. But I bought a signed 8x10 because I want to support the boys. That's what you got to do. But yeah, she was just taking pictures. People were just coming up to her and she was just taking pictures of them. That's classy. I like that. She also cleared it with the bar staff before the match. Like, before the show started, she was in her civilian clothes and she went over to talk to the people in the bar and say, "Hey, I'm going to come over. I'm going to be standing on top of your bar and dumping drinks on people."
And they were like, "Yeah, do it."
Yeah, afterwards she was because we got stranded in Providence because of a Luke Bryan show was getting out, and our car was like stuck in the parking garage because there were so many cars, and so we just went back to the venue where the wrestling was to have a drink and wait. And Su Yung and the other wrestlers who had flown in the Twisted Sisters, who were great, by the way, Thunder Rosa and Holodead. They were fantastic. They were all there, and they were in their civilian clothes, but they still had their face paint on, which was very funny. And the bartender was talking about how much fun it was, and how she loved having Su Yung jump on the bar and kick Rachel Ellering in the head and that kind of thing. So hopefully we'll see Su Yung back in Women's Wrestling Revolution. And, hopefully I'll go to a little more live wrestling. Already going to a show in the end of the month, see Cody Rhodes and Donovan Dijak. What about you? You have any wrestling plans on the horizon?
Nothing right now.
Nothing right now.
Maybe if I, become gainfully employed.
Yes. Yeah, folks, light your little candles, your little voodoo candles, your prayer candles, whatever, and think good thoughts for Joe to land a good job in the near future. And when I mean near future, I mean like this month.
Yeah, like in the next couple of weeks. So, my current company is eliminating a lot of positions, including mine. So, I need a new job post haste.
That is bad news for halfway through the heat. So
it's bad news for our trans-Pacificness.
It is.
If I don't find a new job. Otherwise, we're just going to be a podcast run from Tom's house.
That's fine. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, we will no longer be the world's most prolific Trans-Pacific podcast. We'll just be another wrestling podcast that tapes entirely in somebody's kitchen. That's fine though. That's okay. But the important thing is that you want to get a job and stay in Japan. So everybody, keep your fingers crossed. And if in the off chance that you are a Japanese businessman and you own a company, you should hire Joe.
Yeah, especially if you need translation work, because that's pretty much all I can do.
You could, so if you run a translation company,
if you're someone who's really rich that needs a personal assistant that just kind of hangs out,
right, and knows about wrestling.
Yeah, see, maybe you're a really rich dude who needs someone to talk to you about wrestling. Hire me up. I'm ready to be hired.
You can do it in 2 languages too.
It's true. If you need someone to if you need a personal assistant who will go to wrestling shows with you for some reason, I could be that guy. I mean, if I were a super rich guy, I would hire someone as my personal assistant to go to wrestling shows with me.
Me too. In fact, I would hire a bunch of guys so we could lead the chants.
Yeah, that's how things go.
Yeah, rich people lack imagination. That's one of the great problems facing neoliberalism. But anyway, that's sobering news. So keep your fingers crossed that the next time you hear from us, Joe has good news on the job front.
Yeah, so that should be good. So do we have a show next week, or you're going to be here?
We have a show next week. The day after the show, I'm going to fly to Ireland. Well, the plane is going to fly to Ireland. I'm just going to be sitting inside it. And so I'll be in Ireland for a little bit. But it actually won't. I'm going to Ireland for such a short period of time, it won't affect the schedule of the show at all. So...
well then, so we are even though Tom is going to be doing some international travel over the next week or so, it's not going to affect the taping of the show.
No, it affects stuff in my job, but that's it. Like other things, like I have a freelance column I have to write. I'm still doing it this month. It's not affecting any of my obligations. That's good though.
Are you going to be in Ireland for St. Patrick's Day? Is that?
I'm going to be in Ireland for St. Patrick's Day, which is a huge mistake. But
are you going to buy a leprechaun mask or something to walk around with?
Absolutely. I'm going to buy.
I'm sure the locals will enjoy that.
Yeah, and I'm like a big T-shirt that says Irish for a day, and like big green sunglasses that say beer goggles. They're going to be really impressed with me. I'm going to be a big hit.
You are going to get hit big.
I did look into whether or not there's any wrestling happening in Ireland, and OTT is the big indie company. They are running a show the weekend before I'll be there, so this weekend. So sadly, I won't get
no special not Thanksgiving, St. Patrick's Day wrestling show?
No. It's a huge holiday. We're gonna be in Belfast for it though. Dublin is much more of a shit show, I guess, on St. Patrick's Day. We'll be like waking up in Dublin on St. Patrick's Day, but then hopefully driving to Belfast as soon as possible. But there's a St. Patrick's Day parade in Belfast, like a block from our hotel, so we really can't escape it.
Well, all right. How do the Irish celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Because I know how Americans do. Mostly there's a parade where people get drunk.
There's also that. There's also a parade where people get drunk in Dublin, but then there's like it's a national holiday, so like nothing is open. And we picked. It was kind of a weird choice we made here. I'm going with a couple friends. We made kind of a weird choice to go to Ireland on St. Patrick's Day, but I actually want to see the grave of St. Patrick, which makes it's on our way to Belfast, kind of. It's a little bit out of our way.
Because you're a ghoul.
I just feel like that's the ultimate St. Patrick's Day experience. Not like drinking green beer and having a stupid parade, but like going to the man's grave.
Digging up a corpse of a saint.
There's nothing left at this point. He died a long, long time ago. He died in the 1940s, so a long time ago.
He didn't die in the 1940s.
No, he did not die in the 1940s. He died in like the 5th century or something. 6th century. Long time ago. Anyway.
I would be happy if the podcast is canceled next week because you're in jail in Ireland for defacing the grave of Saint Patrick.
Well, there's a lot of political turmoil in Northern Ireland right now, and we're going to be there, so, who knows?
Is there going to be... generally, are there a lot of people go to St. Patrick's grave on Thanksgiving? Why do I keep saying Thanksgiving? St. Patrick's Day?
I have no idea. It's kind of remote. It's in a town called Downpatrick in Northern Ireland, and it's kind of out of the way. It's in a heavily Protestant part. In fact, it used to be, of course, a Catholic site, but then after the Reformation, it was taken over by the Church of Ireland, which is Anglican. So I don't know. Maybe not a lot of people go there, but and also in Northern Ireland, they have a weird relationship with St. Patrick anyway because it's majority Protestant. But like the one restaurant that everyone recommended to us in Belfast, and when I say everyone, I mean people who live in Belfast and also like the New York Times. We were all set to go there. It's closed for St. Patrick's Day. Of course it is. Look, I make a lot of bad.
You're gonna be getting Shamrock Shakes then?
Yeah, I'm gonna be eating at McDonald's.
At McDonald's, where the only place that'll be open.
The only place that'll be open. We are as a concession to my interests outside wrestling, which I won't get into, but as a concession to my interest outside wrestling, we are staying at the Hotel Europa, which is famous. During the war in Ireland, it was known as the most bombed hotel in Europe.
Well, all right. Don't get bombed.
It hasn't been bombed in a long time. I mean, it hasn't been bombed since December. So no, it's been many years. Anyway, that's it for us this week. We'll be back next week. If you want more wrestling, what you should do is go to closetofanxiety.tumblr.com. I'm on Twitter, but I'm off Twitter for Lent. I haven't tweeted at all since Ash Wednesday.
Tom has given up Twitter for Lent, along with candy.
Yeah, well, sweets in general. So like dessert, anything with sugar, basically. Well, in America, everything has sugar.
Everything has sugar, Tom.
Except for wheat thins. Wheat thins have no sugar. But I'm not on an all-wheat thin diet. That would be harmful in different ways.
You're also eating shredded wheat.
But so yeah, I've given up sweets and Twitter. And honestly, of the two, Twitter, I feel better. Like it's only been it's been a week, and I feel better. Not being like obsessively checking Twitter, not having to like tweet, not getting to like fights with people. Like I feel better. It's great. And of course I'll go back to it on Easter Sunday.
Yeah. Generally though, people when they give up sweets, they're like, I feel healthier. But it's not because of that. It's just Twitter.
It's Twitter.
That's why I don't use Twitter. Even though I'm on there.
He is. X Corn Muffin X.
The only things that I tweet on Twitter are things that automatically tweet from YouTube when I upload things.
Okay.
And occasionally, like once every month or two, I'll actually tweet something once, but it's really rare. I'm not much of a social media guy, I guess. I don't do a lot of social media-ing. I don't even on my personal Facebook, I post like once a month maybe. I'm just not a big social media dude.
Well, except for YouTube.
Except YouTube, but even YouTube, I don't make a lot of videos. I mean, I don't post videos every day. I put up a podcast once a week, and like sometimes that's the only thing I put up. Though I should put up more stuff because I have some other stuff to put up. I just haven't put it up yet. But yeah, we got stuff to shill. We've shilled most of it already, actually. We talked about the blog,
Yeah.
Closet of Anxiety. We talked about Twitter, which nobody is looking at until, well, I'm not looking at because I never look at it, but Tom's not looking at it until Lent, so you shouldn't contact him there.
April 16th is when I'll start. So I'm not going to tweet during WrestleMania, which is a huge sacrifice. But I have compensated because I got a new phone, and I now have Tumblr on my phone. So it's not quite a Twitter level of production, but I am more short little posts as I watch wrestling on Tumblr. So definitely, if for some reason you want to hear me make fun of AWA shows from 1983 and Roman Reigns' fresh new kicks, Tumblr is the place to go.
Yeah, Tumblr. It's not just for genders anymore.
It's not. It is still for that, but it's also
not just for that, though.
It's not just for that. There's other things on Tumblr. And last but not least, in the information section of this video, as all our videos, you'll see Three Moves of Doom, which is a book that Joe and I published. Not only did we publish it, we wrote it, we designed it, Joe did the art. It's about wrestling. It's horror stories about professional wrestling. I wrote one, Joe wrote one. Acclaimed horror writer Matthew M. Bartlett wrote one. He really is an acclaimed horror writer. We're not just saying that. He sold lots of copies of his books, and he's won awards. We have not. But he's in it. It's fun. If you like wrestling, if you like horror, it's a great combination for you. If you buy it and you review it on Amazon.com, you join our gang. And our gang has lots of privileges, like a phone call from a firefighter and secret menu at Taco Bell. And
it's true.
We will kill someone for you, but only metaphorically.
Yes. So there will be a metaphorical murder. It's sort of like a harsh tweet.
Yeah, we will own them on some social media platform. It may not be Twitter, especially during Lent, but they're going to get owned.
It could be Snapchat. Tom will own them while having a dog tongue or whatever the kids do on the Snapchat.
God, Snapchat. I have to use Snapchat for work and I hate it.
It's a multi-billion-dollar company, Tom, that hasn't made a profit.
Yeah, much like Twitter.com. Same thing. Twitter.com never makes money, and still somehow keeps going.
For how long, Tom? There's going to be a huge crash, and Snapchat and Twitter are going to be going the way of the cherry coating.
They'll be casualties. Eventually, the internet will just be Google and Google products and Facebook products and the dark web. And this podcast.
We're part of the dark web.
Yeah, you'll only be able to get to us on the dark web. It'll be like us and ISIS and child pornographers. That's it. All right, on that note, hello to the CIA, by the way. On that note, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week. The pre-Ireland show. We'll have maybe more TNA news to talk about. Who knows? But we'll certainly have some Shine. We'll talk about Shine. We'll talk about what's going on in the wonderful, wacky world of WWE. And we hope to see you guys then, metaphorically.
Metaphorically? No,
well, we're not.
We want to see
anybody.
you. Like show. No, we're gonna see people. I'm gonna message me directly, and I'll give you Tom's address.
We've hacked all your computers, and we're looking at you through your webcams.
That's also could be something that's happened, but I'm not going to confirm or deny.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
See you guys next time.